In this video, I would like us to send an email after our user has submitted a question on our contact page. In our previous session, we were able to save the customer message and we were able to get the success message from it. Now, I would like us to send an email. And so, because this is a package, we require to fetch the email of the person that is supposed to receive all emails sent from the clients once they click on the contact form. And so this means we will require to have a config folder whereby we will have the email typed inside our environment file. So let us go ahead and see how to do that. So inside our contact form directory, that is outside the source. So just inside this directory here, I want us to have a folder that we are going to call config. And inside it, we can have the file that will be our configuration file. We can even call it config.php. And here we just have the PHP tag. Then we will return an array of values. And inside here is where we will put our configuration values. And what I actually need is just an email. So I'm going to call the key of this config value. I'm going to call it admin_email. And this configuration file will be fetching an env value, so the environment variable file. And I want us to call that environment variable admin email. So if it is your website that is using this package for per se, then we want you to input your email in a variable called admin email in the environment file. So I would like to copy this. And before I go to paste it there, I will also just set, in case this value has not been set, it will be set to empty and so on and so forth. And then you can be able to handle any exceptions that may arise from that. So I would like us to go to our environment file, and then below here we need to have the admin email, and we are going to set its value to an email here. So I'm going to call it william@example.com. so that will be the email that we require set inside our environment file. So in this case, this will be the email that we'll be sending our emails to. After that, we need to have a way in which this config file will be published, as it cannot be able to be useful when it is inside our package. So it needs to be published and its values copied to the directory that we call config here. This directory now where it has all the Laravel configuration files. So for us to be able to do that, I need to go to our contact form service provider. And inside here, I would like us to load the new config file that we have created. And so what we are going to do is that we are going to say this publishes, and then we will have an array, and inside here we are going to have directory, and then we will look at a folder outside the source folder. So then config, that is the config folder, this one here. So if we open our package, we have the config folder here, and inside it we have a file that is called config.php. So you have config.php, and then so that file is the one that we want to publish to the config path of our Laravel application, config_path. And as I've shown, it will publish inside the config directory now inside our Laravel application above here, this directory here. And so we can say which name we want it to be published with. So in this case, I can say we want to call it contact form.php. So that is the name of the file. But we also need to have a tag. When you publish, you usually publish and then you tag as the name of the configuration. So that is what I want us to pass here. And what I want us to have it here is contact form -config. And you just see the contact form config just now because I want us to go ahead and see if we can be able to publish this configuration file. So I want to open terminal. We can publish it directly, or we can even just say php artisan vendor :publish. And once we hit enter, it's going to list everything that we can be able to publish. And now you can see we have something that has a tag that is called contact form config. And that is exactly what we are having here, contact form config. So basically we can just check which number it is. It's actually number 10 among them. So I will just type in here 10. And now our contact for config has been published. And now if we go to check now inside the Laravel config directory, this one here, then you can see we have contact form.php, and it has exactly what it is that we were able to pass in as the values that we require. So basically that is that. So that is how you work with configuration files. I want us now to go ahead and see how we can be able to pass in this value and also use it to send an email. And for us to be able to send an email, we can create a mailing class. So here I can run the command php artisan make mail, and I want to call it inquiry email, like that. So it will create for us a mailing class. But remember that one is not created inside our package. This command will create it inside the app mail. So if we check inside app, we can be able to see that we have a directory called mail, and then we have that. So I would like us to move the whole directory. So I want us to move it, the whole of it, and I want it to be inside the source folder, like that. So that mail directory, we have moved it here, and I want to open it and do a namespace. So in this case, we are going to namespace, and we will namespace Larafont, and then contact form, and then mail. So basically that is that. And now I want us to go ahead and dispatch, or in this case, send that email. So I will go to our controller. So in this case, HTTP contact form controller. And down here, we are creating we are saving whatever it is that the customer has created as a message for us. And we are saving inside the variable validated, and we are saving it in the database. I also want us to, at the same time, be able to send a message to an email to the admin email that we have suggested. So basically what we are going to do, we are going to call the config value for our contact form config. So down here, maybe giving it some space, I want us to have a variable which I'm going to call admin _ email. And this one, you read a value. So I put a \config, and then we'll be able to look inside the configuration file that is called contact form. And then the value that we are going to look for is admin _ email. I believe that is how we did have it. And sometimes you may find that this admin email probably has not been set. In the env, there's no value that is called admin email in the env. And also its email has not been set. So we need to maybe find a way in which we can be able to check. So here maybe I can just say if admin email is equals to null, that means the admin email has not been set in the env, and we can also check or, so both the circumstances whereby the admin email is set like that, because if you check here, we have also set that if the value does not exist in our config, so if this value does not exist, we will take it as an empty string. So if it's an empty string also, we will not be able to send our email. So if these two conditions are there, so we can just handle them here. And what I need to do, I will just echo, we can say the value of admin email not set. And then after that, we can be able to say at else. And when we are looking at now this else, then we can be able to go ahead and send our email. But this is not the best way of handling it. We probably would need to handle it using an exception. Maybe with the time I'll be able to do that. But even if I do not do it, you can be able to just try and find out. But I'll try and do an exception, and then we can be able to just handle this. Maybe we can call it admin email exception, just like that. And so if a client calls and they say they are trying to work on your website, and maybe that is what they're getting, then you can be able to know what to tell them. But of course, at the end of everything, if you have app debug set to false, you just throw a 500 error. But if you find out, you can be able to see what exception was being sent at that specific point. So that aside, let us first of all go ahead and do the sending of the email. So in this case, we can import above here several things. So the first thing that we need is to use Laravel. We need to use our mailing class. So in this case, contact form. And then we can say, I think we called it inquiry email. So we need to import that. And we also need to import the mail facade. So in this case, we can say use illuminate support facades, and then mail, like that. So once we have imported that, we can be able to just send our email. So in this case, we can say mail to, and this email, we are just going to send it to the admin email. So if it is set, because now we have checked the conditions when it's not set. So now if we are able to reach here, then the admin email is set, then we can be able to send. So we can say send, and then we can call in our inquiry email. So new inquiry email, and then we can be able to pass any data that we would like to pass in. And I think it is good for us to pass this validated variable because it has everything that is concerned about the message that has been sent by our client. So basically, that is how it is. And now I want us to go to our mail class inside here. And what I need to do, we have passed in a variable called validated. I can be able to use the validated variable here. So public, we can say public validated, like that, and then continue. But would you please allow me to just call it data, such that I do not go too much. And inside here, we can just say dd data, like that, to see if we are able to actually reach this place. So I want to again attempt to submit a new message. So I will say Tom, and then t at example.net, and then the subject, we can say subject, and then the message, we can say message, like that. So if I click submit, we are having that inquiry email not found. So let me go ahead and check that. So we have mail, The problem is actually how I have namespaced it here. So use Laravel contact form inquiry email. I think that is where the problem is. It's supposed to be mail and then inquiry email like that. So basically that is where we were having the error. Now, if we are to refresh, and now you can see now we are passing in an array of values to our inquiry email. Now I want us to go ahead and see what we will do after that. So let us see what happens. I want to go to the inquiry email. We can be able to remove whatever it is that we are doing as DD here. Whatever we are dumping, we can be able to remove that. And then now, inside our envelope, as you can see, we need to have the subject. And our subject is called inquiry email, but I think this is by default. But I want us to set a value to it. So in this case, we can set the subject by referencing whatever it is that we have here, because what we have here is data. So we can say data, and then we get the subject. Because as you can be able to see, we have among whatever it is that you're passing in this data array, we have subject, we have email, and we have name, and we have message. So basically those ones are the ones that we need to pass in. On top of that, inside the view, we need to create a view inside our resources. So I will go to the resources folder and right click, and inside there I want us to have a new folder which I want to call emails, and this emails has to be inside views, not inside resources. So inside views we need to have emails, and inside here we can have inquiry email .bled.php. After that, we can be able to open our inquiry email, be able to just pass in some simple HTML. So what I want us to have is hello admin, and we can have a BR tag. We can break and say this is customers inquiry message. I'm just doing something very basic. If you want to know how to sort this out, you can check Markdown, and you can also be able to use just custom HTML to be able to create a nice email template. And then after that, we need to have the name of the person sending the email. And here we can be able to access from the data property name, and then we can be able to copy this one downwards, and then we have email data email, and then we have message data message, like that. So we can remove this last one, and just maybe to just have some sort of styling, we can be able to just send each value to a new line. I still need to go to our email, our mail class, inquiry email, and here in our view, we need to put in the view, which is now inquiry email. And so what we are going to have, we are going to write here contact form. You remember the way we did the views? So contact form. We have dealt with views in a previous video, and we did something of this sort. And then now we can talk about the directory. So emails dot inquiry email, like that, .bled.php. So we do not need to add that. And we also need to pass in data. We actually do not need to pass in the data, because the data is already passed in the constructor. We can just have it like that. Or maybe let's just have it here. So we can say data, and we can say this data, like that. So after we have those two, then we can be able to go ahead and see if we can be able to send this email. And what I want us to use for just purposes of testing our email, I'm going to use Mailtrap and I'm going to log in. So if you have not created an account with Mailtrap, you can go ahead and add your email and do all those things. And after you do that, you can be able to come to inboxes. So if you click inboxes and then click on settings, this will take you to the setting that you have for your values. So I can be able to just click choose in this drop down that has integrations. I want to choose Laravel 9 Plus, and we have the details here. So we have the DB host, mail, username up until password. I want to go to our env directory. So you go to env, and I want to scroll upwards to where we have mailing, and I need to replace up until where we're having the passwords, like that. So we replace everything up until where we have the passwords. And because this one is a little bit hashed, I can still go back to what we have. And I can click on show credentials, how you get my password, how you copy it, and then come and paste it here. So if you create your own Mailtrap account, you'll be able to get also your passwords. So basically that is what we have. And now, because we have been able to set every other thing, I want us to just go ahead and try and refresh this and see if we are going to send our email. So you refresh and we have undefined variable data, and that one is coming from, yes, we need to reference it with this data, not just data like that. So let me go back and do a correction for that. So I go to inside our packages, and then we will go to mail and inquiry email, and whatever it is that we have in the subject, we're supposed to reference it using this. So like that, this data, that way. And so I want us to refresh again and see if it sends email. Non-parameter data. So let me see. Let me check if it can work if we remove it completely. So let me remove it completely, because I think if you set in the constructor, it will be able to be picked. So refresh again, continue. Now it seems something is happening, and we have sent the email successfully. If I open Mailtrap, you'll find that we have a new email, and it is this one here that is being sent to william@example.com. And let us see what data we have inside. You can see we have all the data. So as I said, what you have here, you do not need to pass in the data also inside the new content. Once you have the data property in the constructor, you can be able to access it directly inside your views. Thank you very much for following this tutorial video up until this point. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please consider subscribing, and you can also give us a thumbs up if you like this video. If you have a comment, you can be able to comment in the comment section below. Thank you very much.